Hello, my name is Diana Hasan. I will be discussing my capstone project with you guys today, the Refugee Life Skills Program at the United States Committee for Refugees and Immigrants Cleveland Field Office, or shortened as U.S.C.R.I. To begin, I will discuss the literature review that I completed. To give you a better understanding, a refugee is a person who has fled their country due to war, persecution, human rights violations, and or violence, and is unable or unwilling to return to their country of origin. The refugee population is amongst one of the many populations who are faced with trauma, including war, violence, torture, sexual abuse, lack of shelter, food, and water, as well as education. It's one of the most marginalized and vulnerable people facing a multitude of physical, social, and mental health issues. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees reports that as of 2021, 84 million people are forcibly displaced worldwide. And of those 84 million people, 26.6 million of them identify as refugees. These individuals can then be hosted. So there's a variety of host countries worldwide that provide them with a variety of necessities, but majority of them lack life skills. Once granted specifically in the United States, so if the United States is the host country, they're once granted U.S. protection, the refugee is authorized to work and can also qualify for assistance, including cash, medical, housing, educational, and vocational services. But there's still a gap in physical, emotional, social, and occupational demands that are not met. Resettlement and adjustment to their host countries can also be difficult, so they face a tremendous difficulty adapting to their environment. And it shows that the role change for work, identity, and health and well-being were also impacted amongst refugees who migrate. There is some research stating that occupational therapy can play a huge role in occupational engagement. So to kind of reduce reduce the fact that they are facing social, cultural, and economic resources, and feeling loneliness and social isolation, occupational therapy can play a role in reducing that. Specifically for life skills training, there's a positive effect for stress management skills, interpersonal skills, and communication skills that can help promote health and contribute to adaptive life skills to better utilize occupational therapy and promote that mental health. A needs assessment was completed for 3 different groups. The first group was occupational therapists, and this questionnaire was to identify their role and knowledge for addressing the refugee population and what interactions they currently have. The second was towards the refugee population, so it was a questionnaire to get a better understanding of what services in general they are receiving and what services they may need to receive after arriving to the U.S. And the last one was with the U.S.C.R.I. director, Darren Ham. It was a short interview just discussing what U.S.C.R.I. provides to refugees and potential needs that they identify at their office, and what goals there were for future occupational therapists working with U.S.C.R.I. as an organization. To further expand that, the needs assessment for the OT questionnaire, we separated it within 4 groups. So the first questions were related to setting. So 81.8% state that their place of work offered occupational therapy to the refugee population. Settings included shelters for asylum seekers, and a lot of them were school-based practices as well. The experience, so 7 of the 11 therapists have experience with refugee population, but those were related to more student roles, so student occupational therapy, clinical, fieldwork, and or capstone projects. When it comes to therapy services, providing life skills, psychological modeling, orientation services, IADLs, functional motor skills, and other services were provided within those settings. Specific to providing life skills, 90.9% say there were some life skills education in their setting. So those related to paying rent, grocery shopping, community management, household management, self-care, and integration into the community. When it came to the needs assessment for the refugee population, unfortunately, there were no responses after reaching out to a variety of different organizations and community members. Although there could have been a variety of reasons that this could have occurred. So the first could be an insufficiency of technology, smartphone or computer access. Just the lack of access to those could have caused some strain in answering because it was an electronic questionnaire. There is also a language barrier. So although the questionnaire was translated between English to Arabic and Pashto for the Afghani-speaking refugees, the language barrier between the responders and the questionnaire themselves, there could have been some kind of lack of understanding. And just a general lack of knowledge related to occupational therapy is another consideration, specifically to how we worded questions pertaining to occupational therapy. There could have been some lack of knowledge on what the questions were asking, and that could also have included why there were limited responses. With the needs assessment for U.S.C.R.Is, there was a abundance of information that Darren was able to offer us. He mentioned that there was a lack of U.S. refugee agencies and resettlement agencies that provide life skills training or similar programs. He did list what was specifically needed within those. So education on culture, communication skills, physical mobility, community mobility, functional mobility, and financial literacy were amongst the greater areas of life skills training that were needed within the refugee population. So these three areas of data that we identified, they have identified the major need for occupational therapy in the refugee community specifically. There was a confidence and knowledge that the occupational therapist field has in working with refugees that was very overwhelming with our questionnaire. The information highlighted by the occupational therapist identified that the profession is equipped and knowledgeable to provide life skills services to this population. It also identified that this can also help with increasing their independence, specifically for life skills. And although the questionnaire for refugees had no replies, we recognize that the cultural difference that may have contributed to those no answers is another reason why a life skills training program is warranted. The conversation with Darren and U.S.C.R.I's office provided the immediate need to establish an occupational therapy program to help aid refugees for their future and for future refugee resettlement agencies as well. So the gap, although refugee individuals are provided a variety of different resources when they first arrive in the United States, there's so many areas that are still not provided to them. So the resources that delivered life skills training is needed to improve their quality of life with transition to their new host country. The gap can leave individuals unable to care for their own needs and can further cause distress and dispose mental distress on an individual as well as their families. So if they're coming, if they're coming here with kids, it can also cause some distress on adapting to their host country. So the purpose of the life skills program is to establish and promote ways of how occupational therapy can implement these programs to provide a greater insight on the lack of occupational participation in the refugee population. It also provides on how occupational therapists can educate and provide the refugee population with the necessary life skills to adapt to their host country, and how OT can offer a unique service to the refugee population to implement that to increase participation in daily life activities and overall improve their quality of life. So as I stated before, the Capstone site will be the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants Cleveland Field Office. So they provide critical services to refugees and immigrants to help them become self-reliant and contributing members of their communities. So they really understand the idea of independence. Some services that they include housing, employment and interpretation, legal aid, health and mental health, and social services. U.S.C.R.I provide a variety of services to the people they serve, but they are lacking a little bit of a life skills program. My mentor, Darren Ham, who is the field office director at U.S.C.R.I, has been a great help throughout this whole project. So I thank him greatly with this project, with this collaboration, and allowing me to join U.S.C.R.I this coming spring. He has experience working with the refugee population as well as management and oversight of programming for a variety of different organizations. So he is highly equipped to be my mentor for this capstone project. So there are 4 main goals that I am hoping to achieve by the end of my 14-week capstone. First will be to develop a life skills program to assist refugees in the greater Cleveland area. I will provide future occupational therapists with some evidence-based resources for addressing life skills with individuals or group intervention settings. Developing as a professional myself and leader within the field of occupational therapy, and being able to disseminate my capstone project and creating a presentation on the life skills program targeted for refugees. So with goal 1, my research and I need to research and determine the necessary elements needed to implement a life skills program. So further researching that. And I will be doing that also with asking for expert feedback from occupational therapists who currently work with refugees who have a better understanding of the needs. I will be leading groups with refugees that focus on occupational therapy related life skills. So the resources and knowledge that aid in the resettlement process, and communicating with my site mentor to update on any progress made, concerns that I have, and seeking guidance as the project is completed. So to provide future occupational therapists with evidence-based on life skills programs, I need to research what resources are currently available in our area that are addressing life skills for refugees, if there are any. Developing a manual for resources that are provided visually so that they can implement those life skills in the future with refugees. And creating a presentation for those occupational therapists and other health professionals that will allow them to use that and implement that further, not just with refugees, but other groups of people who are needing some kind of life skills training. I will develop as a professional and leader, and to do this, I need to increase my professional development through attending conferences and seminars relating to my capstone project, as well as increasing my knowledge on best practices by collaborating and researching with others and in general as well, and improving my knowledge on evidence-based practice of occupational therapy by attending continuing education courses that are offered in my area. The last goal was to disseminate my project to further target refugees in a variety of areas to get the life skills program. So to do that, I need to prepare materials and organize any findings to create a presentation discussing the life skills program that I provided. And in collaboration with my site mentor, I will develop a lecture to offer this presentation to different U.S.C.R.I locations, as well as other refugee or resettlement agencies in our area. So my proposed format will be program development, and it will discuss how occupational therapy can provide resources and life skills training to refugees who are newly resettled. I will present to the community to bring and inform others on my experience with my capstone project and what the role occupational therapy holds in providing life skills services to refugees. I'm excited to be starting at U.S.C.R.I, and I thank Darren for helping me through this process, and for all others who have helped me through this, and I'm very excited to start very soon. Thank you.